Hi, Mike Brantley, auctioneer. Discussing today a topic I have in draft form coming out in a couple of weeks, but maybe when you're seeing this, you've already read that. And I asked this question, what is going on here? My goodness. An auctioneer has on his website that he's using multiple online bidding platforms that are not apparently talking to each other. So his terms say that if you're the high bidder on platform A, for example, you aren't necessarily the high bidder in the auction. In other words, if you're the high bidder on this platform, you're not necessarily the high bidder otherwise. There might be a higher bid on a different platform. I trust I've said enough to get your attention here. I mean, my goodness. This is wacko crazy stuff. So I'm sitting, let's see if I get this straight. Here's a $350,000 combine. I'm sitting on platform A, where platform A is telling me I'm the high bidder at $350,000. Doesn't suggest I have to bid any more because I'm the high bidder. See, people have been going to auctions for centuries where if you're the high bidder, you don't have to bid again. That's the assumption. See, if I'm not the high bidder, I know I'm not the high bidder, then I know that, well, if I want to be the high bidder, I have to bid again. It's kind of in the basic fabric of how auctions work. So I'm sitting here on platform A as the high bidder for $350,000. No indication that I need to bid any more. In fact, all the indication in the world that I'm the high bidder at $350,000. And the next thing I hear or the next thing I see is sold to somebody else on a different platform for $355,000. I was willing to pay $375,000. I really needed that combine. Oh, that's right. The terms. I have to read the terms, which every auctioneer says what? They don't read the terms. I probably didn't read the terms. But would it do any good to read these terms, as wacko as they are? Don't assume you're the high bidder in the auction, even though you're the high bidder on this platform. Well, how do you propose I find out if I am truly the high bidder? I have to check 2 or 3 different platforms? Are you kidding me? On the other side of this craziness that we're seeing in the auction business, I can buy a car out of a vending machine. I can make travel arrangements with a touch on my phone. I can whiten my own teeth. I can have groceries delivered to my front door and in some cases put away for me. I can buy insurance. I can get a mortgage through the internet with a couple clicks. But to come to your auction, I register, driver's license, credit card, whatever, get on the site, and you're going to make it this complicated that I can be the high bidder over here on this platform with no hint that I'm not the high bidder overall. In fact, the contrary, I have a strong indication, since this software says you're the high bidder, that I am the high bidder. And then you sell the item to somebody else for a higher bid who's on a different platform. See, there's ways to solve this craziness. And it is. It's just absolutely, this is crazy. Simulcast allows, okay, we've got this system, this software with this bidder. We got this platform software with this bidder. Over here, we got a different high bidder software platform, what have you. And then the auctioneer plays intermediary. And so I've got 350 over here, and I designate who I've got at 350. Between these 2 or 3 platforms, I'm going to pick the highest bid and say I've got the highest bid at $350,000 on platform A. The person operating platform A can send a message to bidder A on platform A and say, you're the high bidder at 350. He's trying to get 355. And I'm good with that. I'm bidder A over here. I'll stay right there at 350. Oh, somebody on platform B bids 355. Auctioneer in a simulcast situation says, I've got the bidder on platform B at 355. Platform A, you're out. I need 360. And even if the software didn't say it, at least the person operating that platform can communicate that, or the auctioneer could communicate that back to bidder A. Hey, you're out. Even though the platform says you're the high bidder, you're not the high bidder. Because I've got 355 over here. Would you bid 360? And in my example, I would. Which brings us to our final point here. This is not maximizing the seller's position. If you've got 3 platforms where everybody thinks they're the high bidder and 2 of them aren't, are you maximizing the dollars? There's a pretty easy answer to that. You're not maximizing the dollars. This is malpractice. If I'm your client and you're putting this on 3 different platforms and you aren't coordinating between those platforms, I'm going to want to know why my items weren't genuinely, really sold for maximum price. Because I'm telling you, they were not. Because you've got bidders sitting there thinking they're the high bidder when they're not. Would any of them bid more? Yes. Except you don't give them that opportunity. You don't notice them. You don't give them any of that information. That's why you have to have some centralized, coordinated, an auctioneer in a simulcast situation could say, I've got 355 over here. You need to be 360. That's how simulcast works. Simulcast with one platform and live is fine. Simulcast with live and 2 or 3 or 4 platforms is fine. Live auctions are fine. Online only auctions with one platform are fine. But online auctions on multiple platforms with no coordination between the platforms is wrong. Flat out wrong. Crazy, wacko, inappropriate, and actionable. If I'm your seller, I'm going to come after you. This is malpractice. If I'm a bidder willing to give 375 for a combine and I'm told I'm the high bidder at 350 and you sell it to somebody else for 355, I mean, we're not talking about all the minutia in tie bids and disputed bids and misbids and all that stuff. We're talking about just flat out malpractice. So if you're that auctioneer or you're an auctioneer putting multiple platforms up with the same property on all 3, and you're not coordinating or communicating with those bidders as to who is the high bidder and who's not the high bidder, you need to change your procedure. And there's no disclosure, there's no terms and conditions, there's no notice at the top of the website saying you may or may not be the high bidder that's going to satisfy bidders for not knowing if they're the high bidder or not. Telling someone they may or may not, we've written about that too. One of the worst words auctioneers can use is may. I may open the bid, but I may not. I may mean it's sold, or I may not. There was software for a while, and maybe it still is this way today. That when in a simulcast situation, the auctioneer is taking bids live, and then the software says, or at least the software did say, you may have won. Well, you may have won. I might have won. I might not have won. How do I You know, if I needed to bid more, I would have. Oh, sorry, we sold it over here. You didn't win. Well, why didn't I win? Why didn't you notice me that I needed to bid more? Because see, I was willing to bid more. That would be more for your seller, would it not? Oh, sorry, we just don't have any better way to do that. And let me tell you, there's a much better way to do that. Communication, coordination between the online platforms and some centralized single arbiter of who's a high bidder and who's not the high bidder. See, auctions have been going on for a long time. And who got to decide, prior to the internet, who got to decide who the high bidder was? The auctioneer got to decide. I've got this bidder right here. I don't have you. You can bid more. If you don't, nobody else bids more. I'm going to say sold to this person here. There was a person, a single person. Gets a little more complex with ring personnel. Ringman might think the bid's over here, or the ringman might think the bid's over there, but ultimately the auctioneer is the one that can take bids. Ringmans are they're merely relaying bids on behalf of bidders, but not accepting bids. The auctioneer accepts the bids. When you take the auctioneer out of the picture and you put items on an online auction, that's fine. Then who's deciding who the high bidder is there? The single online platform is deciding. You put items on 1, 2, 3, 4, however many online platforms, and they're all running in their own. You might as well have 5 auctioneers, all bid calling at the same time, all pointing to different people and saying sold. Who gets the item? Would it be appropriate to have 5 auctioneers all selling the same item at the same time? But it's okay to have 5 online platforms selling the same item at the same time? This is wacky, crazy, and here's some better words. It's unnecessary, stupid, and unnecessary. Stop it. Stop with the craziness. People are looking for simple, easy, looking for communication, disclosure. Let's make buying at auction easier, not more complicated. Mike Brantley, Auctioneer. Pleasure to be with you today. Other videos on this same page, others forthcoming. Have a great day and stay safe.